My name is Céline Lyaudet. I'm a French artist, born in 1979. I'm doing mostly paintings, but I like to experiment some other media, for example, videos or sculpture. Currently, I'm living in Nantes, but I'm from a very little village in the Alps in France. So I was surrounded by mountains and nature when I was a child. And I would say this environment had a big influence on my work now. About my education, my father was a self-taught painter and engineer. And he taught me the basis of drawing and painting as I was a child. So I would say I've been raised into a very creative context where I was free to experiment and to develop my imagination. I would say that above all, my parents teach me to be curious of everything without boundaries and to learn by myself. So I have I kept this habit to feed from each experience, encounter, and emotion. So I would say it was a very very good environment. I think to be an artist. I also studied art in the Fine Arts School of Quimper in France. I'm graduated in stage design, and I worked for many years as a scenographer for theater companies and contemporary dance companies. I don't know if this experiment in theater really influenced my work now, but maybe in the composition of the painting, I would say. Indeed, I started to paint 3 years ago in a time of great anxiety and a really bad period of my life. Even if I used to draw before, I never really put my deepest and emotion and feelings into my artworks before. I started to paint as a healing gesture, and I discovered that it was not only to heal but to live every day. So painting is a kind of element of my my usual balance. As I was saying, this educational context and environment allowed me to express myself through creation, because I was doing a lot of little things when I was a child, drawing or little sculpture, and I think it increased my hyper sensitivity. It's like it built a kind of a filter to see and to understand the world outside. It's like I have a little world inside, but with this kind of something I call the magic glasses. I could say. I could see the outside in a different way, and I think I kept I kept those magic glasses in my creative process now. I think indeed I am trying. And also, when I was a child, I developed a very, very high relationship with nature. As I said, I was surrounded by mountains and fields, and I think it was the beginning of this feeling of being related to the big wall. You see, from the little beast to the tree and the huge mountains, and to be able to feel the nature's strength, its energies and spirits, which are still feeding my work now. I think it started at a very early age. Also, when I was little, I was very fascinated by the myth of ancient Greece or the Hindu pantheon, which evokes many animal, vegetal, or divine characters and metamorphosis. And I think I learned there the strength of symbolism, and I think he fed my research for my own language and mythology there. The idea of multiple identifies in a symbolic way, I mean, came from there, I think. Because I'm still working on this kind of subject, and I'm always fascinated still now. So I think yes, they were the roots of my work now. One of my favorite artists is Inma Klimt. She's a spirit painter. And when I discovered her work 3 years ago, I was totally amazed, and it really moved me because suddenly it changed the way I see the painter work. That means it's very different from what I learned when I was in art school. It's not a question of mastering and concept. It's a matter of being the instrument of energies around the painter. You can call it spirit also, but and maybe at the end the painting is a kind of a message, and I really like this idea. I like to feel I'm not doing the painting alone. I mean, sometimes it's like someone else is driving and taking the brush, and I think that's the way I see my work as a painter now. I love also the work of Georgia O'Keeffe in a different way, because her colors are so vivid, and I think she doesn't paint only landscapes and flowers. For me, they are like some portrait, and it's another way to represent a different layer of reality. And they like paintings are like windows to see in a different way the world, and I really love that. At the moment, I'm dealing with working on a larger scale. I mean, when I started to paint, I was painting very quickly, only little formats, and I think it was a really good experimentation. Maybe sometimes I was doing 2 or 3 painting by day, and it let me experiment and learn a lot of things, and it was I think it was really good for me at this moment. But now I really want to make something bigger. I make already an experimentation of a big painting, and it was really new for me to work several weeks on the same painting. I mean, at one point it was like something in emergency and a kind of obsession at the same time. It's like living for a journey, but you are always with the same companion, and I really enjoyed this sensation. And it's not the same work. It's like you are digging. After the first gesture of painting something really quick and with a lot of movement, I wanted to feel how it feels to dig the colors and the patterns, and I really enjoy that. So now that's my my next goal for the months to come. In my concern, the biggest challenge as an artist is to keep true to oneself. I thought a lot about that when I decided that I wanted to live from my painting. I mean, I have another job also, but I mean, when I decided to try to show my work and maybe to sell it, and I promised something to myself, is that the only thing I could do is not to betray myself. And I thought maybe above other opinions, the most crucial opinions is own. And when you are an artist, you are constantly in the doubt and in the fears, and maybe the most important challenge is to come over these fears, because most of the time we are our first censorship. So I feel free to maybe sometimes to take another direction or to try something different, even if I have to lose myself for a while. But I'm trying to do that without no anxiety. I'm doing that for myself first, and if some people could enjoy it, it's really wonderful. But at first, I have to do that, not to please someone else, only to be true to myself. If I had to talk to my younger me, I would say to listen more your instinct instead of your intellect, and to be more confident and less anxious. I think the painting helped me to do that. I mean, to be more in the instinct and less in the intellectual reflection. I think the instinct doesn't fail. I think it's all my work about animality, also animality in human, and to find back this animal instinct. So that's what I would say to my younger me. Indeed, I stopped acrylic binder to make my own paint. Now I use casein, that's milk protein, or fish glue as binder, and I melt them with pigments. For example, the fish glue is a very old recipe to make oil painting. And I feel now it's easier for me to make the texture and the viscosity I want. I like the idea to make my own paint. It's like cooking in a way, or a kind of witchcraft sometimes. As I like to add some natural materials in this blend. Not only for the effects they produce, but also for the symbolic or spiritual aspect. For example, I used to put wood ashes or clay or squid ink in my paint, and it has a meaning for me. It's like something I read about the fetishes in Africa. They are composed with multiple materials, animal, vegetal, maybe human, yes, for example, the hair, or they put clay inside of or leaves, etc. And I like this idea, this kind of personal cooking with craft. So each painting is different. Even if I had some, I'm using watercolor inks also, but I melt all these elements to make the paint I need. About music, indeed I have chromesthesia sensitivity. So it means that colors and shapes make sounds for me, or a kind of music sometimes. For example, for me, each painting has its own music. That's how I feel it. And on the same way, when I'm listening to music, it make appear colors or figures or shapes for me. So when I when I'm painting, I need to feel a kind of musical or sounds harmony in the composition through colors and shapes. I know when the painting is finished, when I'm able to hear its sounds or music, and I know at this moment I found the good balance. And to reach this state of particular awakening or trance, I need to start to paint. I need to listen to music at first. It's very changing and depends of the season or of the mood. I like to paint listening to Tomaga, or All Languages, or Kigaku Muyo currently. But as I said, it's very changing. When the painting starts to happen and it starts to make its own sounds, I like to continue into the silence. I shut off the music because now I can hear the music of the painting. Even if I say to continue into the silence, but the silence is really relative. Indeed, I'm living in the countryside, and I'm surrounded by a lot of bird song and wind into the fields, or night beats, screams, and at one moment I think I shut off the human music to listen another kind of sound maybe, and so music and is a very big component of my painting. When I did my first exhibition last year, someone told me that one of my painting gave her tears, as it was talking to her very personally and deeply. And I feel it's the most wonderful compliment I could receive for my work, I think. I'm really grateful for that, because it means even if I started to paint for myself, when the painting is done, someone else can appropriate it, and that's, I think, all the meaning of being an artist. Even if it's personal at first, that's what you want, to give it to someone else, and it really gives me the strength to carry on the painting and to feel it as a meaning, to do that every day. Maybe that they could feel they were coming into another layer of reality, and maybe for only one moment they could appropriate it for themselves. It would be like we are sharing a kind of a secret garden, secret place. It's like a kind of intimacy we share through the painting. Indeed, I'm coming back in California in October this year, in Anno Domini Gallery in San Jose, and I'm so happy and honored to share my work again with those wonderful people, and I can't wait to be there to make the exhibition.